Before you watch the video, we kindly ask that you hit the like button. It costs you nothing, helps us a lot. On to the show. Super duty tough work. Back again. Blueprint. Illustrious co-host Illogic. What is good, America? We have been gone for a minute, but we are together again on the radio. The most infamous podcast on planet Earth. Spine-tingling, swashbuckling adventures of Blueprint and Illogic. Another new episode for the people. To everybody out there, yeah, we missed a few weeks. But if you've been following us on the socials, on the social medias, you know we've been busy.
Yeah, I'm doing things.
Out in the streets. Living what we preach. All this shit we talk about on here, we try to put into practice. Try to be living examples. We know there's a lot of people in the industry who have advice for artists. But how many of them are artists? How many of them are actually doing the shit? Not many, if any. And that is why this podcast is the dopest. In my humble opinion. I mean, you know, I'm open to discussions about who does this better than us.
Let me know,
Let me know. I'm just saying.
Point them out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd like to hear it. But, I just think that we are one of one.
Yeah.
We are one of one. And so, as you know, over the last few weeks, I had my 1988 20-year anniversary show last Friday in Columbus, Ohio. This Friday, Illogic's monthly event, Vibe Society, was held in Columbus, Ohio. And they had special guest producer RJD2, which was, the biggest Vibe Society ever. Mm-hmm. I had that title for a hot second and it didn't last long.
Yeah, you had it. You had the belt.
Yeah, the juice for a quick second, man. My reign on the top was short like leprechauns. RJ definitely came out and took all titles and belts with that one, man. So, congrats to my brother. But, the 1988 20-year anniversary show was about 20 people away from being sold out. Really great show. A lot of advance tickets, so people coming in. And so this episode, but what we wanted to talk to was just kind of talk to people about grit. Grit is, it's your ability to persevere and have passion and maintain that passion for long periods of time. There's a book called Grit that, has been recommended to me by many people. I haven't read the whole book yet, but I think this would be a good discussion to kind of talk about this book and the concept and as it applies to what we actually have going on right now and how having grit has allowed us to have these two moments that we had in the last week. We have recommended a book called The Dip in the past, which is very similar to Grit, if you ask me. It's but the dip is kind of more macro, if you will. Grit is more of a personal philosophy for sticking with it. And the dip is understanding the macro things going on. And so you can tell when you should stick with it and when you should get the fuck out. I think they both go hand in hand. And so those are two reading recommendations. Obviously, we are artists, but we read as well. And we'd like y'all to read as well. And so Grit by Angela Duckworth and The Dip by Seth Godin are two books we definitely recommend to y'all. So in this episode, we're going to talk about, the rise, the fall, the rise again of Illogic's monthly event, Vibe Society. And then we're going to talk about, the 20-year anniversary show and grit as it applies to that and kind of explain and hopefully give some examples of why sticking with it is important. And so we will take a break and we'll be right back.
Word.
We got you stuck off the realness, the most infamous, you heard of us. Official podcast murderers, the show comes equipped with viewpoints to share. Grown man ideas for all those who care and want to grow, so go ahead and download. Every single week with a brand new episode. You're not alone in this world, cousin, so we share information and honest discussion and keep repping the culture like we supposed to. They spread gossip, but they never come close to. I can hear it inside their tone. They talk about the industry but never left their home. You get laced up with bullet points and such, plus empowering topics that they never would touch. You can put your whole network against a team, but Super Duty Tough Work's the MVP. Most valuable podcast on MP3. Priceless info, but all of it's free. So take these words home and think them through. Super Duty Tough Work is coming at you. You are now listening to Super Duty Tough Work with your host, Blueprint. Raw and uncut. Adult conversations. No shucking, no jiving, and no bullshit.
All right, folks, we're back. Super Duty Tough Work, Blueprint, Illogic. We are talking about sticking with it, having grit, why that is so important. And for those who do not know, we're going to talk about Illogic's monthly event, Vibe Society, because they've been on like a 5 or 6 month tear that has been really fucking good, and watching their growth in the Columbus scene. Vibe Society. So let's start like this. Illogic, what is Vibe Society?
Vibe Society is a monthly event for producers. Was actually started by Zero Star and Paz 2.
Shout out to those brothers.
Shout out to my boys.
Friends of the show.
Yep. Zero Star had a restaurant called Adela's, and, you know, he's an MC, but he loves production, you know, so he wanted to start a night where cats, you know, it's basically open ox, have producers come out, play beats and whatnot. And this was about 3 years ago when he started this. And, you know, the first couple were really dope. Mm-hmm. You know, and then there was only 4 dudes that would show up every month. You know what I'm saying? And it was me, Product, Mayhem, Keto Denim, and Tim Twice. Yeah. We'd be the 4 that would show up all the time. And because he was running a business, you know, he couldn't sustain it because it was like, you know, I have this event and nobody's coming. And, you know, I can't keep doing this. So he had to he had to stop it. And unfortunately, Mandela's ended up shutting down. But I talked to him and Paz and asked if I could take the name and kind of run with it. Yeah. And, you know, they granted me that permission. And we've been building on it ever since.
Yeah. So what venues have you done Vibe Society in? What venues? Is it just
actually we did Rehab has been the only spot that we've used. Okay. But we've also done, you know, Cincinnati a couple times. Yes. At a restaurant. I can't think of the name of it. It's a Hawaiian restaurant there. But we've done Cincinnati a couple times as well.
Okay. Yeah. Now, when you did Cincinnati, that was because I know they have a lot of producers down there too. Was that just kind of like a collaboration with some people there? Were there like Cincinnati producers on that event as well?
Yep. The first time we went, it was us, the core 4. Yeah. Me, Product, Mayhem, and Tim Twice, and then they had producers as well that were there. And then the second time we went, it was a couple of us. I think me and Product went. I think Mayhem came too, and then they had some producers. CJ the Cynic actually was one of those. Shout out to CJ. Nice. You know. But yeah, so we've done some collaborations with them, and we've actually been in talks with some cats from Indiana. Talks with some cats in Canada. Yeah. You know, about, you know, maybe doing some like producer exchanges and things like that. So we've got some things bubbling, you know what I'm saying? Nice. Like down the line.
That's dope. Now let's talk about like you definitely described what people don't know is like all this shit was not popping. Oh yeah. When there's been times when, you know, cats come out, and I know from just having a weekly event for 3 years, you're gonna have like one that's cracking, one that's average, one that's bad, one that's hit or miss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What forgettable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes you can have two bad ones in a row, but people don't know. Some people only come out for the big ones or certain artists. Like, what kind of discussions did you have, and like, what did you see in terms of the beginning when it wasn't going well? Like, what did you see about it that you wanted to continue to do?
Well, I mean, there wasn't really any venues for producers. And as a newer producer, you know, I've been producing for probably about 10 years now, a little more than that. And, you know, I wanted to highlight that because there's a lot of producers, they don't really get their names out there like that. Yeah. And I wanted cats to just, you know, be able to have a place, you know, for community to, you know, kind of get out and share their beats. And, you know, it's just, I wanted there to be somewhere for cats to go. And, you know, starting it out, like you said, you know, some nights it would just be the cats that was on the bill there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Just, you know, sharing. And then, you know, being that it's at Rehab Tavern in Columbus, Ohio. It's free. So Rehab is kind of a neighborhood bar. So they have kind of a built-in, you know, clientele anyway. Yeah. So it would be people there that wasn't even there for the event, really. You know what I'm saying? So we had kind of a built-in crowd, but they wasn't really listening. But, you know, it's just as long as the producers were happy, you know what I'm saying, and able to chill and listen to other cats' beats and, you know, talk about what they're using and all that stuff and just have a place, you know, then I was happy. You know what I mean? Even though I wasn't making no money yet, you know what I'm saying? Like it was, you know, it was just a place to be, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So was there a point when, I mean, there's a point, obviously, like you said, when y'all got more organized, because you guys have like actual, like you have meetings, you have like strategy things. There's more. It's not just you. Right. When you guys talked about it, well, first of all, what made you kind of take a team approach to the night?
Well, because I know I couldn't do it all by myself, and I had never done a night before. You know what I'm saying? I had never organized anything like that. So, you know, and I knew that Grant Gatsby, shout out to Grant, Everybody Else's Entertainment. I knew he had kind of a resident kind of booking thing at Rehab Tavern. Yeah. So I approached him about doing it there. And also, and then talking to him, it's like, okay, we have, you know, he has a stipend, you know, where, you know, he can pay cats a little bit of money, you know. So it was because I had never really done it. I wanted to tap somebody that was a show promoter, you know what I'm saying, that had experience promoting shows and also had a venue at their disposal that we could utilize and we could keep it free and we could still pay cats a little bit of money. You know what I mean? So it was something that, you know, it only made sense to get some help and not try to do all the shit by myself.
Yeah. So when you, what were you looking at as the examples for what you wanted to turn Vibe Society into?
I mean, you know, Bernie's was a big, you know, inspiration. You know, thinking about Low End Theory in LA. You know what I'm saying? Like other weekly or monthlies or weeklies that I've seen just in the past. I wanted it to become, you know, kind of that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like Bernie's every week, you know, Bernie's was the spot. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where you was at on Sundays. You was at Bernie's. You know what I'm saying? So I want to create something where every second Friday, you know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Every second Friday of the month, you know, Vibe Society is popping. That's where I'm going. That's where all the people going to be. So I want to eventually, you know, have it become that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's dope. That's super dope. So let's talk about like the lows. What were the lowest lows of Vibe Society?
Oh, man. I mean, like I said, like in the beginning when we first started at Rehab, I mean, if it was 4 cats on the bill, it might only be 4 or 5 cats there. You know what I'm saying? Like outside of Keto, DJ, and you know, Grant and his girl and my wife, like, and maybe my cousin and his wife, like that was it. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, the first couple, you know, and especially because producers aren't as known as MCs. You know, most of these cats, they, you know, these are the first times they're coming out of their bedrooms and playing beats in front of people. You know, so a lot of people don't know who these people are. They don't know these names. So there's not a lot of draw in the beginning. But as we've been doing it, you know, people know who Primitive Sound Lab is now. People know, you know, they starting to know 81 sounds. They starting to know, you know, who these producers are because we're highlighting them and we're, you know, having repeat artists come back now that we're, you know, starting to have some pull and, you know, people are coming. We're having some of the cats that started this out with us when, you know, they was only getting $20 a night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we just give them $20 and, you know, you got some drink tickets, you know?
Yeah. Hey, that's real. Hey, shit.
You know what I'm saying? Like bringing them back now that, you know, we can give them a little more money. You know what I'm saying? They can play in front of more people. Like it's becoming really dope. But in the beginning, we was lucky if it was, you know, 10 people there to see the actual show outside of the people that was on the bill.
Nice. So the last year has been y'all kind of really coming up. It seems like to me, maybe it started, but I feel like the last year has been a lot of steady momentum.
Yeah.
What changed with you guys' philosophy in the last year that you think contributed to your success?
Honestly, I think we've had headliners. That's been the difference. Before we would just, you know, get cats that was producers on the bill, you know, and have 3 or 4 cats. Actually, in the beginning, too, we would have up to like 6, 7 different producers. So things would run really tight. It would run really late. You know, it was harder to keep, you know, everything on time, all of that. And we also started to shrink, you know, the performances. So now we have no more than 4 producers. So everybody can get 20 to 30 minutes at a night, as well as we beefed up the promotion as well. You know what I'm saying? Like making sure that we are prepared because like for May and June, we pretty much already got the lineups, you know, lined up. In the beginning, we would just like kind of wing it. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 weeks before, like, let's see who wants to play. You know, all right, I'll make the flyer real quick. And we would only have a week, you know, 2 weeks to promote. Now we only have 4 cats. We pretty much have the next 2 or 3 shows already lined up and, you know, confirmed. And we're, you know, that way we can start promoting earlier, you know, and just being a little more organized. And it's a lot less stress on us as well. You know, when we already have things planned, we can kind of relax and just deal with the promotional aspect of it. So it's definitely been a learning curve in that because, you know, I had to start thinking about it like every month I have a show.
Yes.
Even if I'm not performing, I had to think about it like every month there's a show that I have and I got to treat it the same way I would treat it if I was rhyming, if I was doing a release party, you know, X, Y, and Z. So, you know, that was the change in my mindset. And me and Grant, since we're the main organizers of it, you know, we started to talk more regularly, started to make plans more regularly. And, you know, because of our dedication to that in the last year or so, you know, really starting in like October, November last year, we really like started to pick up and things really started popping. And it was noticed by the club, too, because, you know, we got a little more money. You know, we got a couple sponsors that we're working out right now. Like a lot of things are really happening right now because, you know, we kind of stuck to it and started to get organized and really taking it real seriously. You know what I'm saying? Instead of it just being some cool thing that I wanted to do,
for the
like
homies.
we're actually, for the homies, basically, you know, like we're really taking it seriously and really starting to think about what this thing can become. You know what I mean? And we're treating it as such.
That's dope. That's super dope. Now, now there's some tie-ins that I don't think you touched on, but like that really helped too. Smart tie-ins. Like you guys have, it's on the second Friday of the month, but the second Friday is Franklinton Fridays in that area of Columbus. So it's a bunch of stuff going on in that area. Even this last one, they had like street vendors out there earlier in the day, right? It was all blocked off. But Franklinton is a pretty poppin' area, but all the venues in there try to be very active on that day, right? And venues. So that's just a really great tie-in. The venue has like a built-in neighborhood bar thing going already. It's always free. And you guys are booking headliners. And like you said, the last 6 months, like I played, was that November or was that?
Yeah, you were November.
I was November. You guys had, who was the guy?
We had like B-Jazz.
Yeah, B-Jazz and those guys.
Yeah, we had them the month before you.
Yep, they were October, I was November. Was there anybody December? Was it December?
Yeah, what did we have? We did have December. Who was December?
I think of who it was.
Because December was a big one too.
I thought so. I just can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I can't remember off top.
Yeah,
who we had in December.
And then you had Rawls and Jay Swiffer.
Yeah,
in February.
No, we had them.
Was that March?
March.
In March.
February, we did a Dilla tribute.
Oh yeah, Dilla tribute. In February.
which was a good one. You know, it wasn't a big one, but it was a good one. Like it was a real, you know, good vibes. And then we had Rawls, Jay Swiffer, and True Skills. And that was the first real nice weather that we had. Yes. And it was popping.
Yeah,
and then,
that was popping.
Just this past one, we had RJ, myself, and Great Digger and Primitive Sound Lab.
Yeah, that was dope. So yeah, y'all are definitely on like an upswing, man. So what would your advice be to people who are like doing something and they're not seeing the immediate results, but you kind of know that it can work, like you really believe it? What would your advice be to them about sticking to it?
Just think about what you need, you know, and make sure that you are tapping people that can fulfill certain things that you're deficient in.
Yeah.
You know, for me, like I said, I had never really ran a monthly event. You know, I promoted shows before, but not to the point of, you know, trying to get people out regularly to something. Yeah. So I tapped somebody that was used to doing something like that. Make sure to, you know, fill your circle with people that can help in ways that you don't know.
Yeah.
And also, if you have a vision, you know, like make sure that vision is important to you and that you want to keep going. It's something that you're passionate about and something that is not easy for you to just drop. I think a lot of people, when they do quit, it's because the passion isn't as strong as it should be in the first place. Mm-hmm. So, you know, push it as long as you can. Like, you know, for me, I was thinking like, okay, I'll give this thing a year. That's what I was thinking. Like, I'll really, because I got so much other shit I'm doing anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just added something else to my plate in the last, you know, couple years. And it's like, you know, I'm gonna get this a year, and if it don't start popping, you know, maybe I'll just hand it over to somebody else to do. Yeah. And I'll kind of just, you know, be in the background, and I'll move on and do something else. But in the last year, we've done things to make it start popping. So it's something that I'm really passionate about and want to keep going. You know?
Hell yeah. Dope. So if you guys are in Columbus, second Friday every month, Rehab Tavern in Franklinton, free event, Vibe Societies for producers. You're not going to hear a lot of rap in there, if any, unless the DJs or the beat makers play it. Although they do have performers there sometimes. It's just more about production. Stop through, support Illogic, Grant Gatsby, Keto, Product, all of these brothers who've been putting it together. The event has been really picking up. If you are a well-known producer and we know you, I'm sure Illogic is going to be in touch pretty soon.
Yep, I already hit up the Opus. I've been hitting up Mad Cats. You know what I'm saying? Just if y'all in town, 6'2", talking about, you know, Canada. You know.
Yeah. Yo, 6'2" would be great. That would be real dope. Yeah. I think I was trying to get him for I think once upon a time I was trying to get Jail for one of them Critical Beatdowns back in the day.
Yeah.
I always wanted to book him for that.
That would have been crazy. That would have been crazy. Oh, one more thing. Our Instagram, Vibe Society 614, and we also have a YouTube page, Vibe Society TV. So check out, you know, I'll be posting the videos from the RJ show. The sound didn't
which was epic.
Yeah, which was epic. The sound didn't record as great as I wanted it to on my recorder, but the sound from the camera is pretty damn good. So I'm going to still edit them up and post them up. But yeah, Vibe Society TV on YouTube, Vibe Society 614 on Instagram. Follow us and, you know, keep up. We got some special things popping this summer, and we're going to keep it moving, man. Keep building.
Let's go. Let's fucking go. So yeah, we'll take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about this 20-year anniversary show. And for 1988, it's a longer window, you know, for things to come together. But another example of this. And we'll take a break and we'll be right back. Quick announcement. We have officially launched the Super Duty Tough Work website. And we would like to officially invite you as a listener of the show to go check it out. The website is superdutytoughwork.net. Again, that's superdutytoughwork.net. Go there and check out the site. You can do 4 things on there right now. The first thing you can do is listen to the podcast. Second thing you can do is purchase books. The third thing you can do is book coaching calls. And the fourth thing you can do on the website is purchase ads for your business on the show. So this is the first time you have been able to do that all in one place. So please take a second, go over to superdutytoughwork.net, sign up for our email newsletter over there, and support the movement. Back to the show. Are you an artist who has the talent to succeed, but has a hard time executing? Do you have the will to win, but lack the plan? Are you tired of having great ideas that never come to fruition, or starting new projects but never finishing them? If you answered yes to any of these questions, reach out to me at superdutytoughwork@weightless.net to book a one-on-one coaching call. Tell me a little bit about who you are, what you're trying to do, and I'll see if I can be of service to you. Have a great day. All right, folks, we are back. Super Duty Tough Work. We're talking about grit. We're talking about having that dog in you. You know what I mean? Is that dog in you? So with that grit, we're talking about that this week, man. The importance of sticking with it. And hope y'all enjoyed the last segment, you know, where Illogic talked about his monthly event. We don't talk about it a lot on here. And so I think it's good that sometimes we talk about it, especially if it's going well and we're seeing the kind of results that, you know, we'd like to see. And so go ahead, I'll let you take over.
Yeah, so now we're going to talk about this 20-year anniversary show. 1988, it was your debut solo record.
Yes, sir.
Solo rapping record, you know what I mean? And really, you know, you kind of touched on it in the promo, but really what made you really want to, you know, celebrate this record, and what about this record made you think it was, you know, worth celebrating?
It was a couple things. I thought about it before, but I did as never. No one ever said to me, Print, you should do a 20-year anniversary show for 1988.
Right.
But the signs were there. You know what I'm saying? That, like, I thought about it. I was like, yo, I am still performing like half this record 20 years later. You know what I mean?
Some of those are your most popular songs.
Yeah, I'm like, people still want to hear this every time I play it. So I'm like, okay, I thought about that. And then the biggest catalyst in the whole thing was the fact that I knew that I wanted to get the rights back to the record for the anniversary. So this has been an ongoing discussion. I think you and I, everybody who knows me knows this is something that I wanted to do for several years. And those who know the record was originally released on Rhymesayers, but I probably could have got the record back in terms of just ownership years prior, but I never felt I was really ready. You know, like what people have to understand is like sometimes you can own the rights to your catalog, but if you don't have the resources to support and promote that catalog, it's very hard to capitalize on that. Right. This is why sometimes you see artists do these publishing deals. They'll do like licensing deals where they may give the record to somebody else strictly because it can be expensive, you know? And so I wanted to be at a point with my business, with my own stuff where like, if I got a record back like that, I could fully support it. And so as we got up to this year, it was like, well, maybe even last year, I looked and I was like, well, Rhymesayers is not going to do anything for this record that I could do for it. Right. And so I said, well, if they don't have big plans for it, why don't I try to get it back for the 20-year anniversary of it? And that would be a good occasion to get it back. And so that was the first thing that's been in motion for years, me having the thoughts of getting the record back, ownership back of the record. Then being in a position where like, hey, I can actually afford to get it back. That's another domino that fell into effect, right? Just making sure I had enough opportunity to get it back, and that, okay, if I get it back, I can financially support promoting it. Because people don't know, even just like doing the vinyl, like I did the vinyl, that's not cheap, you know? Like,
no, not at all.
Like we talking 500 copies of vinyl, gatefold, 3 variants, a color. This is like a nice car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a nice whip for in America.
Right. It's like a down payment on a house.
Hey, hey. So you have to know that the demand is there and be ready for that, you know? And so we have these discussions, and I felt like that was the biggest thing. And then the last thing that fell into place, I think that inspired me was your show, you know, going to a Illogic show. Prior to that, I never even considered it doing the show. But I was like, hey, I had these things that kind of are falling in place. I want to get the record back on a 20-year, and I can do a show on a 20-year. I was like, man, I might have to do this. And then I went to your show, and I was like, oh, I definitely got to do it.
Right.
You know? And then, like, I looked at it, too, because it was like, obviously, like, you went first. So you were kind of the guinea pig. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I got to sit back and look at the formulas and then update the formulas. Right. Like, oh, okay, they did that. They didn't do that. Okay, they did do that. They did that. Okay, cool. This is what I'm going to do. So I just took the formulas that you had. You know what I'm saying? You see, we have formula. We update the formulas, but it's still, you know what I'm saying? Guru and Pre, you know what I mean? So I took the formulas from my man, and there were certain things I really liked about how you did it. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, like, I love the venue you did it at. I love that it was just a special occasion for people. The mindset of giving your fans an opportunity to celebrate a record is something that never crossed my mind before. I was always looking like, why would I want to do that? Because it was like, it's not for you, dickhead.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, so that's kind of what inspired me to try to do it.
That's dope. So during the time preparing for the show, did any, like, you know, because I mean, doing Celestial, it's a completely different animal because it's a very, you know, emotional record. You know what I'm saying? So for me, like, a lot of, you know, shit came up during the time preparing for the record and revisiting a lot of those songs and committing them to memory and all that shit. Yeah. Like, for you, I know 88 is more of a, you know, rah-rah kind of record, but doing the process of preparing, like, you know, any emotions, any, like, feelings come up, you know, like, damn, like, it's really been 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, any of that shit hit you?
Yeah, definitely. You know, one of the first things that kind of hit me with the 20 years was just like the Kill Me First song. Because I really hadn't thought about it. My guy Swam said something to me a couple years ago about it. We were talking on the phone about something came about Black Lives Matter coming. He's like, yo, son, been on that shit, man. This is 1988 shit, man. Long before this fucking Black Lives Matter shit, man. You was on that shit in 05, man. You been on that 20 years ago. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Shout out to my bro Swam though. Yeah, I was like, damn, you're right. You know what I mean? Like all the discussion about like police brutality and the riots and all of that shit, like 05, I was on it, you know?
Yeah.
Like that thing, and then going back and like putting together the promo video where I went and pulled all the footage from the riots from those news stories that was at that time. That kind of brought up some feelings like, damn, I was literally right there watching that shit. Like
right.
2001 riots in Cincinnati. And so that was one. The other thing that kind of just popped up, that was that kind of theme that hit me heavy, was just like leadership. I listen to record, there's moments on there I allude to, and like Liberated and In Trouble on My Mind. A lot of it is trying to be a good leader, you know?
Yeah.
Seeing that we were on a precipice and we were coming up, but feeling like I had a lot of people who were relying on me to make decisions, and I had to be making decisions in the best interest of everyone. And, you know, you don't choose that. It just happens, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that was something that was on my mind at that time. And that was my first solo record. So those are the two biggest things. Other than that, it's like, yo, you was having mad fun on this record, man. Like I was just having fun, you know? And that's something I I really like the songs that are just goofy and fun, like Where Your Girlfriend At, Big Girls Need Love Too. I'm like, yeah, I like that. I just had the balls to write this shit and just not give a shit, you know, because the political climate will kind of suck the fun out of music, you know, and I think that's one kind of bittersweet thing about it now. It's like, I don't think people can make records like that no more.
Yeah, because they don't. Like the Bismarcky element of hip hop is no longer there, and it's there, but you got to really search for it and find that shit. Like it's people out there that, you know, like Prof is a person that, you know, has a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? Like with his shit, but it's rare these days to find an artist that just has fun. You know what I'm saying? Like making music. So yeah, like I noticed that too. Like it's been a long time since you made a fun song.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like life is so real. You know what I'm saying? Like that whenever you sit down, you know, these days I'm the same way. Like I've never really made fun songs. Like we've done some shit together, you know, just on some, you know, just random shit. But like life is so real that it's hard to make, you know, to when you're expressing yourself, it's hard to bring that fun shit out because you ain't having fun at the moment, you know?
Right.
Shit ain't fun right now.
Yeah, it was. And I remember even back in that era, that was a big focus for me. You know, like I remember studying comedy back in like 03, and I was going to I was just visiting a lot of open mics here, like comedy open mics in 03, 04. And so a lot of that influenced some of the writing there. But I knew even back then, like, yo, this underground shit, we taking ourselves too seriously. Why ain't nobody having fun? So that's why there was always fun songs on that shit I was doing. Soul Position albums. I always had a couple fun songs on them. 88, same thing. You know, even Things Go Better. But yeah, like after that, it's like some things got a lot more serious and you just stop like doing that. It's kind of like the climate just makes you feel like it's not allowed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's sad. But that's something that I definitely have noticed in going back to it. Like those things. The fun element, the police brutality, being ahead of the curve on that, and just like struggling with leadership. Those are like the big things about that record that I kind of was reminded of.
Yeah, Liberated is probably one of my like favorite songs of yours. Like I love that. Probably because I was living a lot of what you were talking about. At the moment, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even, you know, the female issues and all that shit. Like we had conversations during that time about, you know, a lot of that shit. So it was real dope to see that performed live, because you don't do that song that much these days.
I don't know if I've ever played it live since the record came out.
Yeah.
So that's like really a one-time thing. I don't play it live. Yeah, just due to that. It's very intense. It's a very intense song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very intense. Very intense. So at the show, you know, seeing the people there, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was, you know, the feedback that you got, you know, from the fans that were there, and even, you know, post-show, you know, Instagram, you know, socials, like, you know, how do you think it was received?
As far as I can tell, everybody fucking loved it. You know?
Yeah.
I think it was one of those shows where even people who know what I can do are reminded, like, oh, you're the dopest fucking performer.
You're that guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Okay, I remember now why you were that guy. I think it was a lot of that. I think it was just like, you know, it was a very clean, like, short. You from your show at Natalie's and my show, you know what you learn about Natalie's, like they don't do like these long shows.
Nope.
You get like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, curfew is 10
o'clock. 10 o'clock stage curfew. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got to be done. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so if your show starts at 7:30, then you out of there by 10. So it's like there's no lull. There's no extra shit. There's no opening act warming them up. You're pretty much getting right to it. I think that shit is actually good for the show. I think it's good for there's going to be some element where people are like, oh, this is a short show, but they're done early and you just give it to them more clean and concise. Like all the feedback I got was like incredible. Everything online was like, yo, this is really good. Everybody I know who I talked to was extremely happy, you know?
Yeah, that's dope.
Only negative I heard was, hey man, you probably should have talked a little more. You know what I mean? But I was like,
Yeah.
I ain't want to get into no waterworks. You know what I'm saying? Be up there crying and shit.
What you trying to say, bro?
Yeah, you know, it's like some rappers I know, they just be up there crying and shit. Looking at you, Illogic. Nah, that shit was fire. Nah, that shit was so moving. Illogic, he had me about to cry. His joint, I was over there like, wipe the joints away out the corners, you know. But nah, it was not everything. Every now and again, you know, I have this theory that like part of our job as veteran artists is not just to make new music, it's to remind people why they like us in the first place.
Right.
So we have to always kind of embrace these moments where we get to remind people.
Yeah.
Whereas someone new is like, they're not trying to remind nobody, they're trying to make an impression.
Right.
We have to remind people of that first impression, that they were right.
Right. You was right to mess with me. You know?
Exactly. You know, and so this is something that I think I've spoken to you offline about this, in that like since I came back from trucking to doing this full time, I've made a conscious decision to handle my career as if I had a manager.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So there's certain decisions I make now. I don't have a manager, but I'll talk to myself and I'll be like, do I feel like doing that? Does Blueprint want to do it? And I'll be like, no.
Should Blueprint do it? That's a different question.
Yes. Then the question is, yes, Blueprint should do it. Yeah. When you change the question to should Blueprint do it, the answer usually be like, yes, he should do it. And the answer is like, does Blueprint want to do it? Nah, not really. You don't want to do it. But changing that perspective has helped me so much this last year, because it makes me take on things that I might have had some fear about, you know? And it's like, yo, just do them. You know, you be fearful, like, what if nobody wants to come out to this show? What if people don't care about that record? Then you do a show and you damn near sell it out. You know what I mean? And you sell all this fucking vinyl, and all the pre-orders. Look, it's like, yo, man, all of these things because I did something that Blueprint didn't necessarily think was important.
Right.
But if someone was managing Blueprint, they'd have made sure he did this, and he would have been like, you know what, you was right, dog. You was right, man.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to keep that philosophy the whole time. And so the show was just like very rewarding, just seeing how happy people were. People from out of state flying in, people from, you know what I mean, driving in, people making a weekend out of it, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, it was very moving, you know, and a good reminder. And now it makes it easier to move on to new music.
Right.
Which is what I didn't understand. It's like when you're celebrating those moments of your catalog, you know, your back catalog, it makes it easier to be like, okay, now that I know I'm giving people and celebrating this thing that they want, I can feel more comfortable putting this new shit out here now.
Yeah.
You know, not just relying on the new shit to keep me quote unquote relevant, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, because that was really the catalyst for us starting to work on a new record. Was after the show, you was like, yo, it's been 20 years. Let's get back in. You know what I mean? Like we can make we can do this again. Like, cause we got to celebrate.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I think also, like you was saying about reminding people of why, you know, they liked us in the first place. Sometimes you got to remind yourself why people like you in the first place.
Man, say that again, man.
Because like when you're doing this for so long, you forget. You know what I'm saying? Or you get jaded, or you get, you know, you try to do the new shit and people might not mess with it as much as they mess with this other stuff. Yeah. So in doing, you know, these shows, I think also we reminding ourselves of why people mess with us, why people, you know, are fans of ours, and also why we started doing this in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and I think that was a big, you know, catalyst to us starting to work together again. And,
absolutely,
you know, with you having new music coming, you know, later this year, I think, you know, it is like a bookend, you know, kind of thing. Like, you know, you can kind of close the chapter a little bit, you know, and really, really move on. Like, of course, you've done music since then. Yeah. But, you know, coming with something new, like after celebrating such a milestone, doing a new record, it feels like a breath of fresh air for you too.
Yeah.
You know, as an artist.
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't know that would be the effect, but it's 100% true. So yeah, it makes me feel a lot better going on to the next thing.
Yeah. Last question.
Yep.
Is there any other records in your catalog that you think you would, do this for?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now that I've done it, I absolutely would. Like when I look at it now, I think I had like a 3 or 4 record run that I could do this with. Like, like if I look at 8 Million Stories by Soul Position.
Oh, easily.
You know what I mean? Then right after that was 1988, right? Mm-hmm. And then it was Things Go Better.
Mm-hmm.
Things Go Better will be 20 years old next year. Mm-hmm. Counterculture, I could probably do a Counterculture now.
Oh, easily, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
and that show would be crazy. Like you would have to have a band for that. You have to get a band for that. Yeah, like some keys or something.
Yeah, because it's like that's 4 records right there. You know what I'm saying? That I think would be worthy of something like this. You know, like immediately, and because it was just like I was in the zone. You know, But yeah, those are ones that now after doing this, I'm like, I'd be open to doing those. You know, if me and RJ talk and say, hey man, let's do this Soul Position 20-year show for Things Go Better. I think it would do really well because that record's got a lot of joints that, we always played and that people love and really good to perform. Really fun record,
Definitely.
But yeah. So yeah, okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick break and we're just gonna share a little bit about this book, Grit, and sticking with it, and then we're gonna get y'all out of here. So we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Word.
Quick announcement: we have officially launched the Super Duty Tough Work website, and we would like to officially invite you as a listener of the show to go check it out. The website is superdutytoughwork.net. Again, that's superdutytoughwork.net. Go there and check out the site. You can do 4 things on there right now. The first thing you can do is listen to the podcast. Second thing you can do is purchase books. The third thing you can do is book coaching calls. And the fourth thing you can do on the website is purchase ads for your business on the show. So this is the first time you have been able to do that all in one place. So please take a second, go over to superdutytoughwork.net, sign up for our email newsletter over there, and support the movement. Back to the show. Are you an artist who has the talent to succeed, but has a hard time executing? Do you have the will to win, but lack the plan? Are you tired of having great ideas that never come to fruition, or starting new projects but never finishing them? If you answered yes to any of these questions, reach out to me at superdutytoughwork@weightless.net to book a one-on-one coaching call. Tell me a little bit about who you are, what you're trying to do, and I'll see if I can be of service to you. Have a great day. All right, folks. We are back. Super Duty Tough Work. This episode is about the importance of sticking with it, i.e. having grit. And I'm going to read a little bit, just as a summary of this book, Grit, just to kind of inspire you guys to do some follow-up on this episode. And again, the title of the book is Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance. And it's written by Angela Duckworth. And this is a summary. This is not from the book. This is a summary. And it says, the book in 3 sentences. Number 1, the secret to outstanding achievement is not talent, but grit, a special blend of passion and persistence. Number 2, grit is about having passion and perseverance for long-term goals. Number 3, gritty people are able to maintain their determination and motivation over long periods, despite experiences with failure and adversity. I'm gonna read that one again because I don't think y'all in the back, I don't think they really understand like the
let them know.
Yeah,
son.
You know what I'm saying? Gritty people are able to maintain their determination and motivation over long periods despite experiences with failure and adversity, y'all. Okay, the 5 big ideas of the book. Grit is about holding the same top level goal for a long time. A top level goal is your ultimate concern, a compass that gives direction and meaning to all the goals below it. Number 2, big idea of the book is that the paragons of grit have 4 psychological assets. Number 1, interest. Number 2, practice. Number 3, purpose. Number 4, hope. Big idea number 3 from the book is that gritty people do more deliberate practice and experience more flow. Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
Big idea number 4, for paragons of grit, the long days and evenings of toil, the setback and disappointments, the struggle, the sacrifice, all this is worth it because ultimately their efforts pay dividends to other people. And big idea number 5 is that often the critical, gritty, or not decisions we make are a matter of identity more than anything else. Meaning that who you see yourself as plays a role in the decisions you make about sticking with something or not. Grit summary. Our potential is one thing. What we do with it is quite another. Compared with what we ought to be, we are only half awake. Our fires are dampened. Our drafts are checked. We are making use of only a small part of our possible mental and physical resources. The naturalness bias is a hidden prejudice against those who've achieved what they have because they worked for it, and a hidden preference for those whom we think arrived at their place in life because they're naturally talented. In Duckworth's view, the biggest reason a preoccupation with talent can be harmful is simple. By shining our spotlight on talent, we risk leaving everything else in the shadows. We inadvertently send the message that these other factors, including grit, don't matter as much as they really do. In a study of competitive swimmers titled The Mundanity of Excellence, Dan Chambliss writes, the most dazzling human achievements are, in fact, the aggregate of countless individual elements, with each of which is, in a sense, ordinary. Great things are accomplished by those people whose thinking is active in one direction, who employ everything as material, who always zealously observe their own inner life and that of others, who perceive everywhere models and incentives, who never tire of combining together the means available to them. Talent, how fast we improve in skill, absolutely matters, but effort factors into the calculations twice, not once. Effort builds skill, and at the very same time, effort makes skill productive. Consistency of effort over the long run is everything. Many of us, it seems, quit what we start far too often and too early. Even more than the effort a gritty person puts in on a single day, what matters is that they wake up the next day and the next, ready to get on that treadmill and keep going. Grit is about working on something you care about so much that you're willing to stay loyal to it. It's not about falling in love. It's about staying in love. I like that.
Yeah.
Grit has 2 components, passion and perseverance. Enthusiasm is common. Endurance is rare. And I will stop there.
Nice.
Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this episode of the show. We talked about grit. If you are out there and you're working on something, check out the book Grit. Check out The Dip, as we mentioned, by Seth Godin. Also, if you have not yet, check out my book, The 10 Traits of Successful Hip Hop Artists. I get deep into why people are successful outside of talent as well, and with a lot of case studies and examples in there that you will love if you're just a hip hop fan in general. So yeah, that's it for this week, folks.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all next week.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to Super Duty Tough Work. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Follow the podcast on SoundCloud. Peace.
Shoot, I got styles already that's more complex that nobody know about. I mean, super duty tough work, huh?